get around the most by walking, actually, which is a little unusual for the east side, but I live in a part of Issaquah which makes it okay to do so. There's a lot of grocery stores and shops and restaurants where I live, so I take full advantage of that, and I really like getting outside and taking advantage of the fresh air. I need to describe King County Council District 3, which is the biggest of all the King County districts. So we're in Redmond. It covers Redmond, Issaquah, Sammamish, stays around Lake Sammamish, then goes out to the Cascade Mountains. So it's incredibly large, and as a result, has a lot of transportation needs and issues. So as someone who for over 10 years did not own a car and relied on public transportation like buses and light rail, as well as walking, that is incredibly important to me. And since we're on a bus, we'll start there in terms of the needs. We need to increase accessibility for bus service, first of all, because that's what we're kind of the main mode of public transportation here. Increase route frequency, increase service, particularly though to the communities that come into Redmond and work in Redmond and don't live here. And also the light rail is going to be coming here in a couple years to Overlake and then downtown, and we need to be increasing accessibility to the light rail. So people who live in Redmond, downtown Redmond, are going to be able to access that pretty easily, but then getting people who are outside of Redmond to come in and access the light rail, that's also going to be incredibly important. So also increase non-motorized transportation, so things like biking and walking, the East Rail, making an investment in East Rail and continuing to build out East Rail is going to be incredibly important. Also, because this district has a lot of rural areas, there are a lot of roads and bridges that are in disrepair in this area. And so this is kind of a fairness issue when it comes to, if you want to live in rural King County, which you should be able to if you want to, you should have access to roads and bridges that don't have potholes and are able, you're able to drive on. So getting the funding to have just the regular maintenance on those roads is another real. First of all, public transportation is so important because it offers accessibility to jobs, education, and really if you think about it, everything that our area has to offer, whether it's trails or anything else. So it's incredibly important that everybody, no matter your income level, has access to that public transportation system. So one of the things we can do in King County is increase the frequency of routes to make sure that they're coming at times that are convenient for people. Having relied on public transportation myself, I know just how important it is, that difference between a 30-minute wait and a 15-minute wait, where you have to either plan it or just go to the bus stop. That's really important. Getting people to public transportation is also really important. So you can have things like Community Ride, which is a program on the plateau that gets people from their house to a public transportation center, or really anywhere else they really want to go. Also, working with employers is incredibly important to make sure that employers know the importance of public transportation for all of their workers at every level of their company, to make sure that they're incentivizing people to use public transportation and subsidizing transportation themselves. And King County also subsidizes with reduced fares, things of that nature. Yeah, so one of the ways to get cars off of the road is to invest in public transportation, whether it's buses or light rail or non-motorized forms of transportation, things like bikes, bike lanes, big transportation, non-motorized projects like light rail, and then the bigger projects like East Rail, and then bigger transportation projects like light rail. I was coming here to Redmond 2 years, 3 years, but unfortunately there is a big budget shortfall with Sound Transit 3. So those projects, which include the light rail coming to Issaquah in 2041, is in jeopardy. We really need to make the investments there so that we can actually get that done and get it done on time. Another way is to combat climate change. So every level of government needs to do its part to combat climate change. City, county, states, federal, and really internationally. We're going to reduce emissions. So one of the things that King County has done in terms of planning is to electrify its bus fleet, which currently consists of about 1,600 buses. So that's really important to do to cut emissions and to make sure that we're doing our part here in King County. And we're the biggest city in the Northwest, and if we're not making that sort of investment, then we really can't expect anyone else to. So we're willing to live up to our Northwest values and make sure we complete the deal on electrifying our bus fleet. I certainly like the idea of a countywide transit measure, and obviously the pandemic kind of interrupted what was probably going to happen last year. Of course, the devil is in the details, and as a representative of District 3, we need to make sure that we're getting the investments here as a part of that overall negotiated package. So increasing bus service here and frequency of bus service here on the east side is going to be crucial as to any sort of package and agreeing to that sort of package. So the 271 is my favorite route, and so I live in Issaquah. So it runs from Issaquah, where I live, and actually you can get it just a couple blocks from where I live, and it goes through Bellevue, which is where I'm from, goes through kind of the area where I'm from, and then it ends up at UW. So, and goes by Husky Stadium, and I'm a big University of Washington football fan, so if you want to get out to a game, that's a great way to go.